Hey everyone, it's Jolanda Rickett, the chosen realtor of your area. So today I'm here with another video, and it is part 3 of the home buying process. So if you've been looking and following me on the series of the home buying process, then today we'll be wrapping it up. So we have went through the first 4 steps of the process in videos part 1 and 2. Today we will get through 5 and 7. All right. So let's jump into it. All right. So step 5. So if you remember from my previous video, step 4 was making an offer, and in that offer it was a term called earnest money. So we will dive into what is earnest money. So earnest money, or some type of consideration. Now this is step 5. All right. So earnest money. What is earnest money? So earnest money is a deposit you put down. It doesn't go to the seller. It's basically just a consideration showing that you, as the buyer, is serious about purchasing the home. Okay, and going through with the contract. Okay. So I kind of tell people, it's kind of like, think of it like you reserving your spot for this property, let's see. I have frequently asked questions all the time about earnest money, and I'm just gonna go through them and go into detail about them so we can kind of understand it a little better. All right. So question number 1 I always get: who keeps the earnest money, right? So the earnest money is held in the escrow account, held by your title company, or lawyer, broker, or bank. Whatever is stated in the contract, you have to follow. Whatever was agreed upon in the contract, you have to follow. So it was stated in your contract where the earnest money would be held. Okay, and like I said, it's in the escrow account and held by one of those, the title company, lawyer, or banker, or broker. So it's completely safe. Okay, and it is held in the escrow account through the life of the contract. Okay, until closing. All right. Another question I get: do you get your earnest money back? Yes, and well, it depends. So yes, it is refundable. All right. So you can get it back as the buyer if you decide in a certain period that you don't want the home no more. You can literally don't state anything. You can just say, as the buyer, I want to terminate and get my earnest money back. Like I said, it's got to be in a certain time period of the contract, usually during the due diligence period, and you can get your earnest money back. Literally, you just tell your own realtor you don't want the house, and everybody go back to they part ways. The seller go back on the market to find another buyer, or go to the next contract if they had a backup offer, and the seller, and the buyer goes back to looking for a home. All right. So number 2 to that question, you can also get your earnest money back at closing. So at closing you will get, it's not a check wrote to you, no, but at closing you'll see you have a final closing disclosure form, and you'll see that it's a line that say earnest money or something in that nature, but it'll be your earnest money, whatever you put up. If you put up 2,000, 1,000, whatever you put up, you will see that it's a negative sign, or in parentheses, which means it's going back towards the closing cost of the buyer in. Okay, so it rolls back off at that time period. And usually the earnest money is 1% of the loan, 2% of the loan, or whatever you want to put up as earnest money. There's no certain rule about it, but I always have my buyers at least put up 1%. To me, that's very serious of the loan. You putting up 1% already in front that you are serious to purchase the home. But in some cases, you may get into like a little bidding war. You might have to put up more, and that's okay, because like I said, you have an opportunity to get your money back. If you decide during the due diligence period that you may not want the property, you want to try to look for another one. You get your money back, and at closing, if you go forth through the contract, you get it. It rolls back off, so it don't go to the seller. However, it will go to the seller, which brings me to my next question that I always get: can you lose your earnest money? Yes. Okay. Then that's when the seller gets your earnest money. So if you as the buyer default on the loan, then the seller gets your earnest money. Whatever you put up, 1,000, 2,000, the seller gets that money. Okay. And what I mean by default on the loan is after the due diligence period, if something goes on to where you can't complete the loan, it could be something with your finances or your loan agreement, or if you just decide, hey, I don't want this home no more, I don't know if we could do it, and you decide, you lose your earnest money at that period of time after the due diligence period. Okay, so you can only get it back in that due diligence period, or if the seller somehow, some way mess something up, then in some cases you can get your earnest money back. But it's all depends on that contract. So as you can see, earnest money is very, very important. Okay, you don't want to lose earnest money. You don't want to lose your earnest money, because you can always put that earnest money on another property. So, and then you basically just give your earnest money away, in a sense. So, step 6, due diligence period / inspection period. So, going back to step 5, when I said during this period you can get your earnest money back, that's the due diligence period. I know I mentioned it before, but just bringing it back to you. The due diligence period. What is a due diligence period? So this is when the buyer has an opportunity to get the home inspected through a licensed inspector. Okay. So the inspector will inspect the house, roof to the ground, and they will write up a inspection report on all their findings of the house, on everything they found in the house. Problems or concerns or anything they need to address will be stated in that inspection report. So it's not required, but it's definitely recommended, because you want to know what you're buying. This is a big investment. You want to know what you are buying. Okay, you don't want to get in the house and a week later the roof fell in. Okay, or you don't want to get in the house and then a month later the air go out. So that's why you need to get it inspected. However, though, some loans that you get, you will have to have an inspection. So it is required through some of the loans. And I want to say, don't quote me, I'm not sure. I work with all loans. I want to say USDA, you have to, it's required by USDA. But don't quote me on that. Ask me later. I know for sure. But so FHA, USDA, VA, conventional, some of them are, them all the types of loans, but USDA can get kind of critical. Sometimes FHA can as well. So yeah, it depends. So I would say it's definitely recommended. So get it done. Spend about $300 to $500 depending on what they quote you. It depends on how big the house is and the age of the house and stuff like that on what the price may range from. But I have seen anywhere from $300 to about $500 on the inspection, which ain't bad if you know what you're buying. So also during this period, you have times to negotiate those repairs with the seller. So like I just mentioned, the inspector will write up an inspection report. You and your realtor will get together, go over the report together, and y'all will write an amendment to the address concerns of the property to the seller, and y'all can negotiate any or all repairs. Okay. All right. So that's it. It's very, very important. Okay. Very, very important. So that's another period that's, like I said, very, very important. It's very critical. A lot goes on during that due diligence slash inspection period. Okay. All right. So let's talk about step 7. It's closing day. It's signing day. This is the day that everybody has been waiting for and has been working for. All right. So you know, this is the day you get your keys as the buyer. So this is when ownership is transferred from the seller to the new buyer. All right. So you will get funds get transferred over, whatever the funds are. You go over title, you go over mortgage payments and fees, and also the deed will be in your name. Okay. So last but not least, you will also be signing a lot of papers. All right. So as the buyer, scratch them hands, pop them hands, because you will be signing. Because believe me, your signature will not be as pretty as the first paper you sign to the last paper you sign. Okay. So, my husband, just to put this in real quick, my husband, when we were signing the papers or whatever, I remember his first signature, couple first signatures was nice. Got to the end of the paperwork, it was about a line and a dot over it. So, hey. But like I said, you get your keys. This is the most exciting part, because now you have your home. Like I said, all the realtors and all parties have been working towards this. The title company or the real estate lawyer has been working so hard we all can get to this closing table, get to this closing day, which is a very, very rewarding day. All right, and you all deserve a closing day. So one last thing, the closing is held at the attorney's office, mostly. Okay, most likely, I should say. Some closings, it depends on the attorney. They can be at the home, the purchase of the home that's being purchased, but most likely it's at the attorney's office. All right. Well, that wraps up the home buying process explained in detail. I try to go in as much detail as possible, but it still may be questions out there, and I do not mind getting with you and talking about them. Or if you need any step explained in more detail, or have questions about the certain steps, or didn't even understand none of this, let me know. We'll clear it up, okay? All right. Well, as always, if you know of anyone looking to purchase or sell a home, give them my name, and I would love to assist. If it's you that's looking to purchase or thinking about purchasing a home or selling a home, give me a call. All right. So that wraps it up for today. I hope you all are doing well. Have a good day, and stay tuned and subscribe to my channel. Click the thumbs up and comment below, so you can stay in tune with everything that I will be discussing on my channel. It's all about purchasing and buying a home or selling a home, so you can get tips and all kind of details, insights on what's going on in the home buying process. Okay. All right, y'all have a good one.